Hey everybody, Charlie Stevens here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another guitar lesson. Alright, today I'm very excited to show you this song because this is actually, I think, the first full song I ever learned. I remember it's only a 2-chord song. My guitar teacher Andy Buzzy taught this to me, these 2 chords, and I used this song as a way of practicing 2 chords until they were smooth enough to change around and things like that. So anyway, I always really liked this song. It's called What I Got by Sublime, and yeah, it's a pretty cool tune. So if you listen to the song, you can hear the guitar player Brad Noel. He's picking out the notes in these chords. So the 2 chords are D and G, and I learned it just as regular G, but I think I'll teach it as this kind of G5 that we've learned on the channel before. I think this one actually works better. Nowadays I would play it with this. Okay, so you can hear him doing that, and we can kind of get into what he's doing there a little bit, but I kind of don't think it matters that much. I don't think that he really said, I don't think he sat down and said, I'm going to do this string, and then on beat 2 I'm going to do this string. And I think he just held down the chord and picked out some of the notes out of the chord. Okay, to me that makes a lot of sense. So I don't really believe in overthinking this, but I'm going to explain kind of what happens here. That's one option. I don't know if that's even exactly what he does. I've heard some different versions of this, and I've looked at some tab online and watched a couple of other teachers talk about this, and everybody does it a tiny bit differently. Some people hear this hammer on. Some people hear a pull off there. I think the pull-off sounds better. But again, I don't really want to overthink it too much, okay? And when I learned this song, I didn't learn that part actually. I just learned it as regular chords in a way that I'm going to teach you in a moment that I think is much better if you're playing it by yourself and you're trying to sing. So in the original recording, you can hear the drums come in first, and then this little guitar line comes in as a layer, and then his voice comes in, and you don't really hear the guitar too much. It's all this drum and bass and stuff is what mainly carries the tune. So if you're not playing with a drum and a bass player and you're playing on an acoustic guitar around the campfire or something like that, it's our job to kind of include some of the elements that are left out that the drum and bass would be doing. Okay, and actually there's a version of this called What I Got Reprise, and in that one he's not really doing this picking thing. He's doing much more of this bass against chord thing that we're going to talk about later. So briefly I'll show you that how I do this picking thing, and then we'll learn the other way, which I think is more practical. So I think it's, so on the D chord, I'm going D with the down on my open D, and then I'm doing that again. And right after that, I jump up an octave to this higher D, which is on my B string on the 3rd fret. And we're already holding that down for holding our D chord. So we don't really need to worry about the fret. We just need to go to the B string, basically. Okay, so it's down, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, and 4, and. Down, down, up, down, up. Okay? Down, down, up, down, up. So we have 2 downs in a row in the beginning. Then we have 2 ups in a row. On the B, then the G. Then we go down on D, up on G. And then when we get to the G, it's almost the same thing. So instead of the open D string, we need to play the root of this chord, which is G, and that's here. The note G is here on the 3rd fret of our low E string. So we're going to play that instead. Down, down. Still skip all the way to the B string with our up. Then we still do an up on G next, but instead of the rest of the pattern, I hear it kind of just end there personally. So let's do it like that. I don't know if that's exactly what Brad Noel does, and frankly, I don't really care. And I don't care if you do it exactly like this either. Just kind of pick out some notes in a way that sounds good to you. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the way that I learned this, the more practical way, and the way that we can kind of hear Brad Noel play it on the reprise version is closer to this way. It's kind of a mix between what we just did in this way. Also, Sublime with Rome, he doesn't do that picking thing. Rome, when he plays, just plays just the regular chords, I noticed, okay? All right, so as I was saying earlier, we want to make up for the lack of drum and bass if we're playing this by ourselves and fill that role. So the way we can do that is by this concept known as bass against chord. Okay, and we'll talk about this soon in another lesson about the boom chuck, and we'll really get into this kind of concept. Boom chuck is another way of saying bass then strum. So instead of just playing a chord like this, where I strum the entire thing, I can play a bass note of the chord and then strum. Okay, so that's boom chuck, bass strum, bass against chord, whatever you want to call it, that's what we're talking about. Okay, we're splitting up this chord and then doing a strum after. Okay, so bass is a musical term meaning the lowest note, and we need to know what note are we going to put in our bass. And in this case, we're always going to put the root in the bass. So what is the root? The root is the note in which the chord is named after. So this chord here, that's a D chord, right? I have more than just the note D. I have D, A, another D, and an F sharp. So all together they make the D chord. But the root of the D chord is just the note D, okay? The note in which the chord is named after. Okay, so that's here on my open D string. Okay, and I hear, especially in the reprise where you can hear just his guitar, I hear it like this. Bass, bass, chord, okay? And this is the way that I was shown how to play it when I was like 12 or 13 or something. Okay? Bass, bass, chord, bump, bump. Okay, then we're going to go to the G chord and do the exact same thing there. So we play this G5. And now I need to know the root, right? I need to know what to do with the bass. We're going to go bass, bass, strum again, right? And I need to know what note to put in the bass. And again, I'm going to choose the root. So what is this chord? G5 or just G, right? What's the root of a G chord? The note G, okay? Should I play this one on my open string? Or this one on my high E? No, even though those are G's, they're not really in the bass, right? I have a lower G in this shape right here. Okay? Third fret of low E, that's always the note G. Third fret of high E, for that matter, is always the note G. Okay? So we need to really know our guitar and know where notes are in order to target things like this, okay? So for D, it's the open D string, and then we strum the rest. For the G, we go to the low E string. Bum, bum, strum. Okay, that's it. Early in the morning, right? Okay, so we can also do the strum for nothing here. I don't know if it counts as the strum for nothing because I'm actually leaving this finger down. This finger is in the G5, my third finger that is, my ring finger. See, it's there in the G5, and when I move it to D, it's still there, right? So I leave that one down. And I kind of put this pinky down as I change over so that it's almost like I get to the high G a little early. But again, I don't want to be too specific with this. This was not stuff that I thought about when I was 12. I heard, oh, it's D and it's G, and you go bump, bump, bump. Okay? To me, that's like the only teaching I got about it. And as I played along and sang with it, I kind of naturally realized where I could throw in some of these upstrokes kind of in between chords, right? But the main meat of it is, I feel that's just a little too long and it kind of wants something in between those patterns. So you can be free to kind of experiment a little bit. Don't be too locked into this. But to me, that's the groove. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Okay? That's the whole song. It just goes on and on like that, and then there is a solo, which we'll check out in another lesson. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching this lesson. I hope you like this song. It always sort of has a special place in my heart just because it's one of the first songs I ever learned. Has the F word in there and some other language that was fun for a 12-year-old to hear and sing. So yeah, I hope you really like playing this too. Hope this gives you a good practice changing from D to G. Hope this gives you some practice doing the strum for nothing. And I hope this gives you some understanding of how bass notes against chord strums work, which we'll talk about later when we discuss the boom chop or the boom chuck. Alright, well, thanks again for watching. If you're enjoying this course, please subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in another guitar lesson really soon. Thanks again. Bye.